Active Directory is the backbone of almost every enterprise network, and it's a staple in modern CTFs. But let's be honest, manually pivoting, enumerating, and abusing AD objects can be a slow, painful process. What if you could automate privilege escalation, object modification, and even DC sync attacks with a single, lightweight tool, all from your own Linux machine? In this video, we're breaking down BloodyAD, the ultimate Python framework for Active Directory enumeration and exploitation. I'll show you how it works, how to use it, and how it can shave hours off your next CTF. This tool is a lifesaver for pentesting in CTFs because it allows you to interact directly with the Active Directory LDAP protocol from any Linux machine, without any of the overhead as well. Today you'll learn how to go from a standard user to domain admin just using BloodyAD. To start using BloodyAD, we first need to install it. If you're running Kali Linux, it's as simple as running sudo apt install BloodyAD, or on another Linux distribution, if you have Python installed, you can run pipx install BloodyAD, and that should also install the tool as well. You can confirm BloodyAD is installed by doing bloodyad-h, and this should bring up the help output. So with that simple installation out of the way, let's now learn how we can do some basic enumeration with BloodyAD. Pretty much every command you run with BloodyAD is going to start in the same way, which is this structure right here, where we obviously first start with the BloodyAD tool, and we specify --host and then put in the IP address or domain name of the domain controller, and then the -d flag to specify the domain of the Active Directory domain that we're attacking, and then -u and -p to specify the credentials of the user that we have in that Active Directory domain. Once you have that information specified, we can now start putting in our LDAP queries to either enumerate or attack the Active Directory domain. And that BloodyAD LDAP query will start with one of 5 keywords depending on what we're trying to do. And those keywords are add, get, msldap, remove, and set. All enumeration against Active Directory objects will be done with the get command, and most exploitation methods will involve using the add, set, and occasionally the remove commands. Now with that syntax out of the way, let's take a look at a basic example where we want to enumerate the AD object of the user that we have control over. Just as a quick FYI, a lot of the examples I'm going to show in this video are going to be done against the Tomb Watcher box on Hack the Box, so there will be spoilers ahead for this box. So to get details about our Henry user, we can do BloodyAD, set the host and domain flags to tombwatcher.htb. Our user will be Henry, and then this is Henry's password that's given to us at the beginning of the CTF, and then we can do a get object Henry. And this gives us all the information for Henry in Active Directory, including Henry's distinguished name, when their account expires, the last logon timestamps, NT security descriptors, the object GUID and SID, any user account controls the user has. So now that we have all the basic information about our user, we may want to see what our user Henry has writable access over, and we can figure that out using BloodyAD by doing the get writable command, and we can specify --detail for more details. We see that Henry has the ability to write a lot of things for his own user, but if we scroll down a bit, we see that Henry has the ability to write the service principal name for the user Alfred, which would be like seeing the same thing as the write SBN privilege in Bloodhound. The tools BloodyAD and Bloodhound coincide with each other very well. I think Bloodhound does a very good job of showing visually the different attack paths that you may be able to take in an Active Directory environment, and BloodyAD is really good at exploiting those attack paths. But I just want to showcase that you can also do the enumeration with just BloodyAD as well. So now that we know that Henry has write SBN over Alfred, we could then abuse that to set an SBN for Alfred and potentially curb roast his credentials. And to do that, we can do the set object Alfred, service principal name -v, and then whatever we want to set that SBN to. When we hit enter, we should see Alfred's service principal name has been set, and then you could use whatever tool you'd like for curb roasting, such as netexec or get user SBNs. And we should get back Alfred's curb roastable hash, which we save to curbroasting.out, and then we could crack it with a tool like hashcat and a word list like rocku.txt. So with the help of BloodyAD, we were able to enumerate Henry had the write permission over the service principal name of Alfred. We then gave Alfred a service principal name, got their curb roastable hash with netexec, and then cracked it with hashcat to find out that their password is basketball. And now that we have access to the user Alfred, we could see in Bloodhound that we have add self over the infrastructure group, which we could abuse with BloodyAD. You could also technically find this information using BloodyAD, but it is a bit more guess and check. We could use the get object and then specify the DN for the infrastructure group, and then use the flag resolve SD. And here under NT security descriptor ACL3, we see that the user Alfred has the write validated self over the infrastructure group, but admittedly this is much easier to find in a tool like Bloodhound, and then you can just exploit this using BloodyAD instead. So like I mentioned, these tools pair really well together, where Bloodhound can sometimes visually make these enumeration processes much easier, and then BloodyAD makes it very easy to exploit. So with Alfred credentials, we could then add ourselves to that infrastructure group by doing the add group member infrastructure Alfred, and we should see that Alfred was added to infrastructure, And we could confirm that we were added to that group by doing a getObjectInfrastructure and then specifying the attribute member. And this would list all of the members in the infrastructure group. In this case, we see that the Alfred member is now a part of that group. Now that we're a member of the infrastructure group, we can now abuse the read GMSA privilege over the Ansible dev computer account to get that account's GMSA password. And this can be easily done with BloodyAD by specifying Alfred's credentials in the Tomb Watcher environment and saying get object Ansible dev and then --attr for attribute, and then specifying the MSDS managed password attribute. The output gives us the NTLM hash for the Ansible dev service account, which we could then use in pass the hash attacks. Now that we have access to Ansible dev with their NTLM hash, we can see what objects this user has control over, and in Bloodhound we see that they have force change password over the SAM user, so we can easily exploit that with BloodyAD once again by specifying the user Ansible dev and their password as an NTLM hash. And to do that, all we have to do is specify this colon before we paste in the NTLM hash, just so that the tool knows that we're using an NTLM hash instead of a password. And then we run the command set password SAM to whatever password we want, in this case password123 ! And we should see password change successfully. So as you just saw, we can use pass the hash attacks with BloodyAD. Another thing to note is we can also do Kerberos authentication by specifying the -k flag. Now with full control over the SAM user, we can do a get writable to see what we have control over. And from this output, we can see we have write owner permissions over the John user, which we also could have easily discovered with Bloodhound. And to abuse those write owner permissions, we could use BloodyAD once again and specify set owner John Sam, so that the SAM user now has full ownership over the John user. And we get output saying that the old owner Sid has now been replaced by Sam on John. Now that Sam has full ownership over the John user, we can now give Sam the generic all permission over John by doing a add generic all John Sam. And we get output saying that Sam now has the generic all permission over John. And now that we have generic all permission over John as Sam, we can once again abuse force change password to set the password to John to anything we want. In this case, I'll just set it to password123 ! Once again. And then one of the many ways to confirm that this worked, we can use BloodyAD once again and specify the John password123 credentials, and then use any query such as getWritable to see if it works. And as you can see, the command completed successfully. So those are just a few quick examples of how BloodyAD can be used to do basic Active Directory enumeration and attacks, but the tool also has the capability to do many more complicated LDAP queries that are normally much more tedious to do from a Linux machine. The first thing that comes to mind when I think of annoying AD attacks to conduct from a Linux machine is enumerating and recovering deleted AD objects. Luckily for us, this tool can easily discover deleted objects with one simple command, which is once again the getWritable command, but this time we're going to include the --include-del flag to include any deleted objects. Side note, on updated versions of BloodyAD, it looks like that include del extra flag has been removed and now just includes deleted objects by default, so we can just do a simple getWritable as the John user. And from the output, we see that we have the write permission over the deleted objects object. And towards the middle here, we see a deleted object called cert_admin, which we have write permission over. So since this cert_admin user is deleted, we could restore this object by using the set restore cert_admin command. And we see that cert_admin has been restored successfully under cert_admin adcs Tomb Watcher HDB. And from our previous getWritable command, we see that we've got full write permission over the account, which means we should be able to set the password of the cert_admin user to whatever we want and take it over that way. So these are just a few of the many things that the BloodyAD tool can do, and this only scratches the surface of how powerful this tool can actually be. If an attack or enumeration technique can be done using LDAP, then you can bet on BloodyAD also being able to carry out those techniques. There are many resources and cheat sheets out there for BloodyAD that will show you how to carry out many more attacks and techniques that weren't covered in this video. A good cheat sheet to start with is this Suryaton CTF GitHub IO page, where he gives command line examples of the many different attacks you can carry out with BloodyAD, including enumerating and setting machine account quotas, performing a shadow credential attack, creating new computer accounts, performing resource-based constrained delegation, or even collecting Bloodhound data from BloodyAD. And you can even carry out some of the more modern attacks, such as bad successor, by doing a little bit of Googling or using large language models to get the right syntax. That's it for this video on the tool BloodyAD. If you found this video useful, please leave a like and subscribe for more content like this, and join the Discord if you haven't already. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.